everybody, welcome back to the Bug Corp channel. I'm going to try to do this one a little bit fast. I'm not going to try to hold you too much time. This one is a Ginyu Force deck profile. It is a more of a fun deck. I don't think this deck is going to be competitive without like getting into banlist discussions. While BMS and Koichikai exist, this deck will not be meta relevant at all because one of those cards basically kills how this deck is supposed to play. Now, this deck, a lot of people when they first saw it, myself included, looked at this deck as a hyper aggression deck. I think this deck is not hyper aggression. I think this deck is very defensive. Actually, it's the opposite, is where I've been seeing most of my success in playtesting, where success being the operative word, but like not being utter trash is when I play defensively. Now, the front side says when this card attacks, draw 2, discard 1 from your hand. So you can filter out bad cards or filter Ginyu Force members into the drop area. I try with my build here because it's very defensive. I actually try to stay unawakened to like turn 3 because that's when your guys return to your hand anyway. So there are a lot of cases where because of how defensive I built my deck, I can stay till turn 3, see 6 cards, get 3 in rotation into my drop without really going neg. So you could try to do that with this deck if you wanted to play like this more defensive build. When your life is at 4 or less, or you have 2 or more energy and a Ginyu Force card with cost 4 in play, draw 2, add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6 left and flip over. Backside says if you have 3 or more energy, at the end of your turn, do the 3 of your yellow Ginyu Force cost 4, return them to their owner's hands. So that's why I don't like doing like the Awaken on 2, because what am I going to do? Play guys out and then leave them on the board for them to die? No, that's not in playtesting. That's been like terrible. Now, if all of your energy is in rest mode, you discard 1 card from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a yellow Ginyu Force cost 4, you play it and you place the remaining at the bottom of your deck and negate the skill for the battle. Remember, this is once per battle you can do this. So now the leader. To go with the leader, we're going to reveal the 2 extra cards first. So I play 2 Ginyu Force spaceships. When this card is placed in a battle area, play up to 1 Ginyu Force card with cost 4 from your hand. Whatever, it's for Awakening. This card's bad. If you have a Ginyu Force card in play, and you switch this card to rest mode, activate battle. Choose one of your yellow Ginyu Force cards. It gets plus 6k for the battle. Now you might be thinking, how is this bad? It's a super combo on defense. Well, it's a super combo on defense if I have a Ginyu Force on the field, which 90% of the time, well, 99% of the time, my board only has 1 Ginyu Force going into the next turn. That's the 5-cost Ginyu, and he gets answered before the attack even happens, like typically by an on-play auto or an on-swing auto. So you have to battle trick a guy onto the field, losing a card in hand unless it's Birder, in order to just get the 6k, and then the guy that you battle tricked onto the field, by discarding 1 card to do that, will likely be killed before you can even combo him off. So that's my issue with this card. The activate battle sucks. I don't like it. It's probably better to just be using it as an offensive activate battle rather than a defensive activate battle, but I play my deck more defensively. This is just here for my Awakens. I play 1 body change. A lot of the times, this card feels a little win more. You can really answer your opponent's board without having to use this card. Choose one of your yellow Ginyu cards, your opponent gains control of it. Choose one of their battle cards, gain control of it. And then activate main. If your leader is a Ginyu Force card, warp this card from your drop, KO a non-unique battle card. Doesn't have to be the card you stole, so you can just keep the card that you took from them. Choose one of your opponent's Ginyu cards and gain control of it. So you basically just you just take one of their cards. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's worth that more than 1. So I only play it at 1. Now for the Ginyu Force themselves, it is these guys. 3, 3, 4, 4, 2. So I play them at this ratio. Guldo on play gains blocker till the end of your opponent's turn, so barrier blocker, not bad at all. Raccoon on attack, he KOs a rest mode card, so you want to play him towards the back end of your opponent's turn or on your turn. You never play him as like the first card you play on your opponent's turn, unless you're like in a real bad situation. Birder draws 1 on play. He's your best one because he at least nets you a card back in hand and you're not like nuking your hand. Jace is choose an opponent's battle card, switch to rest mode, and it can't restand until the end of the turn. Well, until the end of the opponent's turn, so he's really good for battle tricking down something else. And then Ginyu, he just adds back the extra card, the body change. and then reduces it to a 0 cost, so you can use it for free. And they all share the same activate battle, where they can top deck themselves in the drops that your leader's activate battle doesn't whiff. So you want to get, like, you definitely want these two in rotation, and you want to find a Goldo and possibly a Raccoon. Like, these two are important for battle tricking. But this is why I'm saying, like, the deck is, like, really cool for defense because you can battle trick stuff, but, like, everything's a 15k. So Koitsukai, like, will tax you 2 out of hand every time you try to play something, and BMS will tax you 2 out of hand every time you try to even play your deck. So that's why I'm saying this deck won't be competitive unless those cards get hit, because everything just gets murdered by it. Your whole deck just dies to those cards. Now we do play Ginyu Captain. Captain is for 1 yellow, 2 or more energy. You play him from your hand. When a Ginyu Force card is played, this does include himself. He sees himself getting played. You add a Ginyu Force card cost 4 to your hand from your deck, and then choose one of your opponent's cards ignoring barrier. Cannot attack till the end of your opponent's turn. Now this auto isn't on your turn. It's just limit 1. So technically, if it gets to a combat step and you're able to battle trick a new Ginyu Force out, you can't add another one from deck to hand. But I don't think I've resolved this effect one time on my opponent's turn. Every single time I've played this deck against my opponent, they've outed this card either with an on-play auto or an on-attack swing. This card should have probably had barrier. But without having any form of protection on this card just dies and you never get a search on your opponent's turn. So only ever expect this card to get 1 search. And if you get a second search, it's probably because you're playing against a bad deck. That's just the truth. Now we play a bunch of extra cards. We play 4 Realm of the Gods Black Kamehamehas. This is because, again, playing very defensive, so this card helps a lot for defense. This is typically our turn 1, because as you see, I don't play the frog. I think the little frog cantrip, it's whatever. It just exists. But there's no space for it in the way that I have my deck built. Also, so I'm out of the Ginyu Force stuff. You also see I'm not playing that 3 cost that, like, vomits your hand out. That card is so win more, it isn't even funny. Like, your opponent has to have, like, literally nothing in their hand. Literally nothing in their hand, and then you might win the game. That's it. Because, like, if your opponent even has, like, say you play against, like, a red opponent, and they have 0 energy, and they're a Saiyan, they can still imposing you. Luke can still Dimension Magic and then Sensu Beam. White Belmont can still Sensu Beam their leader with a rock. People can play Protector of the People. So, like, the card just loses so hard. And then people are like, oh, you can play the guy that beans all of your Ginyu Force members. And it's like, well, he can't be cheated off of that guy, because the old 3 cost, he plays non-Ginyus from your hand, and that old card, the one that beans everyone, gains all the names in all areas. So it is a Ginyu card, so it can't even cheat that card out. So it's really bad when it comes to that. I don't even play it. Like, you could play it at 1. You could probably cut a couple things out of this deck to play it at 1, but costing 1 for the combo is kind of rough when you do want to play defensively, not aggressively. Anyway, let's move on. So this is defensive. On defense, plus 10k, draw 1, rest 2 battle cards. On offense, plus 10k, KO a card in rest mode. So it's also removable. I've used it as removable seldom, but it does come up. So that's really good. Forbidden Power is better than Nimbus in my testing of the deck, because you want to get to a combat step. Nimbus doesn't let you get there. Nimbus also costs a discard in a deck that's already discarding for its leader's effect. So I do not like Nimbus in this deck. I like Forbidden a lot more. So I play Forbidden. Also, on your turn, you can aggressively use this if you're game shotting. You can just tap 1, make this plus 10k, and rest an opponent's combo card. So it pseudo becomes 15. Power of Super Saiyan actually works in this deck. I say that like it's a bad card because I don't like this card. But you tend to leave up 2 energies a lot of the times for defense. So POS does come up. So, I mean, it's a good card to play. It's cuttable. You don't need to play it, but you can. Cold Bloodlust, I don't need to explain it. Your leader's a Frieza army. It blanks the opponent's card being played. A lot of boss cards nowadays are being played or printed without Deflect. Like, even like the new Baby SCR, for an example, that card doesn't have Deflect. Does Cutthroat even have Deflect? The Broly? I'm not sure. But I know that the new Baby doesn't have Deflect because I know it came up. So if we go ahead and look at the next cards, we got the Krillin Super Combo. It's Krillin Super Combo. Pretty simple to pretty simple to explain. 4 or less, bottom deck 1, draw 2. Get the too many extra cards in your hand, just Krillin some out. Now we play these cards. So these are extra cards. These are battle card floodgates that reduce by extra cards that are in your drop, energy, or battle area. So Steadfast says for each extra card in your battle area, energy area, and drop area, he reduces by 1. So he becomes a 1-cost counterplay that rests the card being played regardless of its cost, and then draws a card, and he's a blocker. This can be live on turn 1, same with Riposte, who reduces itself by energy and drop area extra cards, where everyone knows Riposte, I don't really need to explain Riposte. So these cards can be live on turn 1. That's why I said earlier in the video, I like holding my Awaken till 3, because on turn 2, having a Riposte live is pretty hard for a lot of people to actually successfully punch you through. So you tend to hold your Awaken for that turn, which is really nice. Now, Steadfast, again, same thing. Now, I'm telling you, like, as a resident hater of BMS and Koits, like, this card can be used against BMS. They try to play it on... you leave an energy up, they play BMS against you on turn 1. You literally just slam this counterplay and then just try punching the BMS next turn. That's my recommendation, because the deck just loses so hard to it that it's like, you gotta do it. Now we play Clan of Terror Mecha Frieza. Some people might not know what this card is, but Riposte has a bonus effect. For 2 yellow energy, choose 1 yellow Frieza card with a cost of 4 and Mecha in its card name in your hand and play it on top of this. So you basically cheat this out for 2. It is a +1 10k, so keep in mind of that. He's double strike, and when this card is played, your opponent reveals their hand. You choose 1 battle card among it, and your opponent plays it into their battle area in rest mode. So you can choose a super combo, you can choose an SCR, you can choose anything. And even if that card has an on-play auto effect that's really good for your opponent, you can combo it with Cold Bloodlust to then blank the card, to then swing with Raccoon to kill the card. So there are combos to do. Hand knowledge is always really nice. Ripping out a super combo, like if you look at your opponent's hand and you see the Gogeta SCR, or like a Baby Hatch SCR, you know, you can like play those cards. Your opponent now gets no value out of them, and you just kill it with a Raccoon swing. So it's really nice to play Mecha Frieza. He can be cut. He's definitely not required, but I love Mecha Frieza. I have a soft spot for this card. We play 1 Belmod. This card's definitely a check. He can put your opponent in some really bad positions, where if you're like going into turn 4, you can definitely just slam a Belmod, swing with him a couple times, see if your opponent has a Floodgate. Then if they don't, then you can commit your last energy to something else and then start going ape shit with your leader effect. But you can basically also slam him, rest of your opponent's energy, and then like, let's say it's I don't know, blue deck, and they Sparking Dimension Magic, then you swing again, and then they Defending Friends. You're like, okay, I don't need to commit my last energy, I can leave it for a Riposte. So, like that. So, I do think this card's really good. It's also a barrier answer, because it switches one of your opponent's cards to rest mode, ignoring barrier, and then KO something in rest mode, ignoring barrier. So, if there's a rest mode barrier guy, you can just kill it. Now, if you don't want to rest your opponent's energy, let's say they have 2 energy up, and it's like, whatever, but they have like, I don't know, a UI Goku and you want to kill it, you can just switch it to rest mode and then kill it. And this is a dual critical deflect. So this card does come up. It's cuttable, but I like it as a one-of. 2 Majin Buu versus Son Goku. I know this is supposed to be a fun deck. I own these cards, so I just play them. They are very nice in the deck. The deck likes to get a combat step. This card redirecting the attack, it gives you a combat step while getting around an attack, resting a guy for stopping another attack, and then Jace combo tricking, or battle tricking into stopping another attack while putting 2 bodies on the field that make 8 energy for successor cards, is very, very, very good. I'm not going to pretend that's not a really, really good line of play, but I understand also this card's like $70, I think, so it's really expensive and really hard to obtain. So it's definitely cuttable. This deck is like 54 cards, I think, or 53 cards. So you can literally just like cut both of these out and not, you know, worry about it. Then we play 2 Cold Hearteds. Again, very defensive deck. You tend to leave up energy. Hell, even on turn 3 sometimes, you can leave up all 3 of your energy. Cold Hearted, and then hit your opponent with like a Black Kamehameha. And then just start playing stuff afterwards. So, you know, I like Cold Hearted. It's been playing very well in the deck. Gogeta versus Omega. It doesn't really probably need explained. Like I said, playing this into this gets you your 8 energy, or your 8 cost for the successor. you can just free play out 2 dudes. Like, you can free play out a birder, and you can free play out like a Raccoon. You can swing with Raccoon, get his effect to KO a guy, then you can sack them both off, go into Omega. I like the barrier removal the most in this deck, because the deck doesn't have too much barrier removal, and then it's a dual attack, where if they Floodgate the first attack, you can leave up a blocker. And he's probably not going to live to block, but you can leave it up at least. So I do like Gogeta versus Omega. Then we have the Monkey. I mean, it's, again, if you play this game, you should know what this card is. It's limit 1, barrier, draw a card, play him, and then he can rest a battle card to negate something through barrier. And then my SCR choice is Super 17, Sibling Absorb. So this is, again, more of a fun deck. I don't feel like playing with Gogeta in this deck. Gohan Piccolo is a good option. Cell Zeno is a good option. But I like Super 17 Sibling Absorb. Because with this card, it's a 1-cost counterplay that blanks anything coming down and then eats another card ignoring barrier. And it's deflect critical. So this plus Cold Bloodlust gives you 2 counterplays main deck, because I don't think people are side decking in the fun game. So this like gives you answers to Floodgates like Topo and stuff in your main deck. And a lot of people, the second you use your Cold Bloodlust, they get stupid and they're like, oh, the Cold Bloodlust is out of the way, let me slam this card, which has happened. I Cold Bloodlusted my friend, and then he played the new baby SCR right after, and I just Super 17'd it because that card doesn't have deflect and he lost the game. So there's things to do with this card, and I mean, it's also just, it just hits anything, really. Like, just, it hits anything. This card's really good. You could also just play it for 1 energy, because it doesn't reduce itself only on the opponent's turn. It just reduces itself. So if, like, let's say you're actually just going for game and you're like, oh, my opponent's tapped out, they haven't floodgated me, here's a 40k for 1 energy. That's not terrible. Like, at worst, you can do that. Now, for the Z deck, it's pretty simple. We have 2 Mighty Blasts. I play 2 because you can, like, slam 1 early game and then use it and then slam 1 late game when you get floodgated. It does actually come up having a second one, I'm not gonna lie. You have an Oolong. You have a Haze. You have a Majin. So, with these cards, it is, I mean, just the normal, this is the normal stuff. This is Barrier Answer, this is Rest cards, this is Gain Power. Then I play an Evolved Defender. Evolved Defender is a card that a lot of people have cut. It's a Deflect Barrier, so it's hard to interact with. If it's in Rest mode, and your opponent plays a card, you can place one of your Z Energy into its drop, and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to Rest mode, like a Poutine style effect. And then when he's played, he locks a card down in Rest mode. Then we got Gohan Key Training. We've got Ginyu Force All Members Present. So this card is going to not ever really come down more than once. You can play more than one of it, but I haven't found a situation yet where more than one comes up, because you nuke your hand to get all the names on the field. Now this is Deflect Triple Strike, activate main limit 1. If you have 3 more energy and you choose one of each Ginyu Force name and you place them in your drop area, and they have to be 4 costs specifically. I'm saying that because in testing, I was sacking this guy off the field. He can't be sacked off the field. This specifically wants the 4 costs to be sacked. That's why we do play the 4 costs. Otherwise, I probably would have cut the 4 cost out of my deck. He's really bad. You place him into your owner's drop. You play this from your Z deck. Then you choose all of your opponent's Rest mode battle cards, ignoring Barrier, and you kill him. So it's a board nuke. So if your opponent has everything in Rest mode, which sometimes happens because of all the resting that you do, like let's say they've swung with their couple Barrier guys and you Black Kamehameha the rest, riposte, they've rested the rest of them, and you just nuke their board with this, it's really, really good. And it's a 30k triple strike that checks them for a floodgate afterwards. And I mean, there have come up games where I've nuked my opponent's board and then they don't have a floodgate and I can just dump on this. Next is Kaioken Goku. So this Unison, funnily enough, I've been raw tapping for this card a lot. Just going into turn 5, which this deck can get to playing its defensive game. Just raw tapping for this, nuking your opponent's board and having a 25k double strike swing after that, followed up by a Floodgate stopper in either Super 17 or Cold Bloodlust, then having all of your free plays afterwards is really, really good. So it does come up where you raw tap 4 for this, as well as this card. which these both require basically raw tap 4s in this deck because I don't play main deck Unisons. So this one does come up more though because it's a 2/1 rather than Frieza's a 3/3. This should have been 2Z energy. I don't know why this is 3Z energy, but Frieza basically says if he has 4 or more markers, instead of KOing the board, he chooses all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and rests them and locks them until the end of your opponent's turn. So with this one combined with this one, you can basically rest your opponent's entire board for 4. And then you can do your shenanigans, and let's say they don't have a Floodgate at that point, because you can Cold Bloodlust their Floodgate or Super 17 it. Then you can get all your guys on the field, and you play this to nuke the entire field. You've now board wiped them, and you have this guy on the field where you can either ±0 to draw 1, or -1 to gain double strike for the battle when he swings. And he double strike 10k for the battle, so he'd be like a 30k double strike. So this is a Z deck. It's flexible. You can mess with what you want. Am I playing too many cards? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, this is 10. So I mean, you can mess with stuff. You can put in different stuff if you want. You can play main deck Unisons if you really feel like it. I saw some people were talking about the Android 18 Defender of Heroes, which was like, look at the top 3 and reorganize. I think that Unison's really bad. I don't think any Unison fits in this deck. I think the only one that would be entertaining is Gogeta Dynamic Unison. But the issue with the Unison is you are a battle tricking deck. Why are you taking away your combat step to allow your opponent to just punch your Unison and then you build no board advantage? So I don't like playing a Unison. I tried Dynamic Unison. It was cute. It didn't work. I didn't like it at all. But yeah, this is the deck. If you guys enjoyed, or and if you have any other ideas for it, please let me know and we can bounce some ideas off each other. All right, it's been a pleasure.